Welcome back, students, on our subject in ES9, Appraisal and Assessment in the Government Sector. In this video lecture, our topic is about the present role of the local assessor, and we will also discuss some of the definition terms that are being used in this subject. So the present role of the local assessor. The local assessor shall take charge of the discovery, classification, appraisal assessment, and valuation of all real properties within his territorial jurisdiction, which shall be used as the basis for taxation. His duties include the preparation, installation, and maintenance of a system of tax mapping and records management, and the preparation of the schedule of fair market values of the different classes of real property within his territory. So we will going to discuss some of the definition terms that you should be very familiar with as we go along in studying this subject. Obstruction method. This is a method of land valuation in the absence of vacant land, whereby improvement values obtained from cost model are subtracted from sales price of improved parcels to yield a residual land value estimates. Acquisition costs. For newly acquired machinery not yet depreciated and appraised within the year of its purchase, it refers to the actual cost of the machinery to its present owner, and plus the cost of transportation, handling, and installation at the present site. The cost may also include freight and insurance charges, brokerage, customs duties, and taxes. Actual use. Actual use refers to the purpose for which the property is principally or predominantly utilized by the person in possession thereof. Actually used is defined as an act or fact in reality. So actual is something real or actually existing as opposed to something merely possible or to something which is presumptive or constructive. Directly used. It is defined as the use without anything intervening, proximately or without an intervening agency or person. Exclusively used. So this means the primary or inherent use and does not preclude such incidental uses as are directly connected with, essential to, and in furtherance of the primary use. To illustrate, the primary use of a building may be for, like, for example, a charitable or religious or educational purposes, and the exemption is to wholly or partly loss because on occasion, the building or part of it is used for social purposes or let out to others for entertainment. Ad valorem tax. It is a levy on real property determined on the basis of a fixed proportion of the value of the property. Agricultural land. So this is a land devoted principally to planting of trees, raising of crops, livestock, and poultry, dairy, salt making, inland fishing, and similar aquacultural activities, and other agricultural activities, and is not classified as mineral, timberland, residential, commercial, or industrial. Appraisal. It is the act or a process of determining the value of a property as of a specific date for a specific purpose. It may also be defined as the act of estimating the value of a property. It is an estimate or an opinion of value. Usually, market value or value as defined by the appraiser. It is made as of a specific date and is a conclusion which results from a logical and orderly analysis of facts. An appraiser or an assessor is the one who conducts appraisals. Specifically, one who possesses the necessary qualification, the ability, and experience to execute or direct the appraisal of real or personal property. So, what is an arm's length transaction? Arm's length transaction is a transaction freely arrived in the open market, unaffected by abnormal pressure or by the absence of normal competitive negotiations, as might be true in the case of transaction between related parties. Assessment. Assessment is the act or a process of determining the value of a property or proportion thereof subject to tax, including the discovery, the listing, classification, and appraisal of properties. So, in conducting the assessment, you should consider several components. So, you audit, you analyze the information that you gathered, the information that you gathered, that you need to come up with a plan on how you can be able to evaluate your assessment. And then by having this evaluation, you can be able to determine the quality, and also you can be able to organize, to formulate a process, and then that's the time that you can generate a result, and then you can set your goal through what will be the attainment of your assessment. Assessment level is the percentage applied to the market value to determine the taxable value of the property. Assessment operations is a means of assigning on every parcel of land and upon all taxable improvements on such lands a current and fair market value, an assessment level to be able to arrive at an assessed value for each land and each improvement. Assessed value. It is the market value of the property multiplied by the assessment level. It is synonymous to taxable value. So the bundle of rights is the combination of rights associated with the ownership of real property. The right to use, if you're the owner of the property, you can sell it, you can lease, or you can give away to your relatives or to your loved ones, or to exercise all of these rights. So that is what we call the bundle of rights. Comprehensive land use plan. So this refers to document accompanied by maps and all the taxable improvements on such lands, a current and fair market value and assessment level to be able to arrive at an assessed value for each land and each improvement. Consequential benefits. The increase in the value of the other interest of the property owner that can be attributed to the new use to which his former property will be put by the expropriating authority. So here in this picture, so this is we, we can get an idea on what is the consequential benefit. Due to the improvements of roads, there is what we call this the increase in the value of the interest of your property. So that's why the properties that are near the major roads are more ideal or more desirable because there is a what we call the increase of value. So that is the consequential benefits. The consequential damages are the damages to other interests of the owner that can be attributed to the expropriation. So if you can see along the, the highways that are being for road widening, there are properties that are being demolished. So those are considered as consequential damages. Cost approach is also known as replacement or reproduction cost less depreciation. Under this approach to value, the land is appraised as vacant. The land value is then added to the depreciated cost of the improvements to arrive at an indication of value. So it is based on the theory of substitution. So depreciation. Depreciation is a loss in value brought about by physical deterioration or obsolescence. And the depreciated value, that is the value remaining after deducting the depreciation from the acquisition cost. So when we say economic life, it is the estimated period over which it is anticipated that the machinery may be profitably utilized. Fair market value. So the fair market value is the price at which a property may be sold by a seller who is not compelled to sell and both by a buyer who is not compelled to buy. So that is the fair market value. So the market value is the estimated amount for which property should exchange on the date of valuation between a willing buyer and a willing seller in arm's length transaction. A transaction between independent and related parties involving no irregularity after proper marketing wherein the parties had each acted knowledgeably, prudently, and without compulsion. Foreshore land, a strip of land along the seashore, the use of which may or may not be granted by the government to private persons or corporation. So for your further readings, I would like to recommend to visit the Facebook account of National Bureau of Investigation about the overcrowded shoreline. So it will give you a more insight what are the laws that are um, that covers this foreshore land. So what is the highest and best use? The highest and best use is the most probable use of a property which is specifically possible, appropriately justified, legally permissible, and financially feasible, in which results is the highest value of the property being valued. Income approach. An appraisal technique used to estimate the market value of property on the basis of the income it produces or is capable of producing. The value is estimated by capitalizing the estimated future income, either gross or net. This approach is based on the theory that a property is worth what it will earn. Value is the present worth of future benefits arising from the ownership.